What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host Jeff Santa. Today, we're bringing you the breaking news of Odell Beckham Jr. has officially been released from the Cleveland Browns. There's been talks over the past few days. Obviously, if you haven't been paying attention to the whole situation, basically since Sunday's game, the rumor of Odell being out in Cleveland has been buzzing. Obviously, the video put out by his father, Odell Beckham Sr., and everything that was detailed after that has come to the final conclusion of Odell Beckham Jr. going to the waiver wire, and certainly a lot to digest and talk about here. So, Jeff, obviously, you and I have been talking about this nonstop for the past couple of days, but how are you doing and what are your thoughts?
I'm doing all right. It's an interesting, complex situation, and it's definitely made me change my thoughts about some things, specifically NFL. I've been leaning toward this for most of the year because we have some people coming up on contracts, and I'm it's so annoying too because Andrew Berry, you can only give praise to Andrew Berry, but I'm getting real sick of thinking that the Browns as an organization could sit around and be passive and it's just all going to work out. I'd rather be aggressive in the NFL. I just want aggressiveness. I don't really care. I think that when John Dorsey made the trade for OBJ, that was aggressive. But it's like you saw the 7 or 8 games last year when Baker did not play with OBJ, and we just kind of sat on our hands this year. We were like, oh, we're going to try to make it work through whatever. Who even knows? And that has come back to totally backfire. So I think that there was a time where we could have got more value out of him. Hindsight's 2020, of course, but you knew it wasn't working pre-injury. So I thought the injury was only going to make it harder, really.
Yeah, the details around Odell and his tenure here with the Browns has been a murky one for sure. Obviously, his first year here under Freddie Kitchens as the head coach with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback, he goes as a 1,000-yard receiver, but the team itself stinks. Fires Freddie Kitchens immediately after the season. Bring in Kevin Stefanski, who we, in light of all this, have been enlightened into the usage of his top wide receivers, even when he was the OC in Minnesota. And now, last year with how well the Browns did, the target shares going around. And then this year with Odell coming back off of injury and his target shares through the games he's played. Obviously, he just hasn't had the kind of attention that he would want here. For me, I'll probably start this with just, I hope that in the end of all this, and all outcomes, the Browns, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., they all prosper from this. Hopefully, Odell doesn't go to a AFC North team and maybe even an AFC team in general. But, he's still 29 years old. He's still got a couple years left in him. But obviously the 2.5 years spent here haven't done wonders for his career. And I'm sure that's an aspect that we'll be getting into in terms of his pending signing somewhere else and being picked up potentially somewhere else.
So I'm perusing around Twitter. We have a statement here from Andrew Berry and the Browns. After careful consideration, internal discussions, and conversations with Odell and his representation, we've determined that it is in the best interest of all parties involved that Odell no longer play for the Cleveland Browns. We appreciate all his efforts and contributions while in Cleveland, but we've just reached a point where it is best that we move forward as a team without Odell. We're finalizing the process of granting Odell his release, and we wish him well as he continues his career. Statement from EVP and GM Andrew Berry on Odell Beckham Jr. So, yeah, I do agree with you. I don't know. It's just annoying how it happened. It seemed very childish. If there's any evidence that Odell had any orchestration behind the scenes on the situation that happens, then I don't really wish him that well, honestly. It sounds super toxic. Don't really care. He could have told his dad to take it down. You shouldn't be 29 years old and doing that. It's pretty embarrassing to me. If you can't come face to face, sit down with Baker, sit down with the front office and say, hey, it's not working here. I'll just request a trade and not have to have this whole social media blow up. But that's pretty much the character that we inherited trading for him. So is it really that big of a surprise? It was a surprise how it happened, but it's really not that big of a surprise that it did happen.
Yeah, obviously you look at his tenure with the Giants. Obviously, the last couple of years there were starting to get spotty. That's why he got traded in the first place. Um, I did share a tweet with Jeff from Albert Breer. More details on the Odell Beckham slash the Browns. The team got a text from Beckham's reps on Sunday night asking for a trade. I'm told. Still, Beckham had been fine in the building, so the social media blow up blindsided the team. Brown simply couldn't find anyone to take OBJ's contract. Obviously, yeah, like Jess said, we have no idea if he orchestrated the whole, Odell Beckham Sr. posting that video and everything. But at the end of the day, the requesting for a trade and not having anyone be able to take his contract is a big thing. And obviously, that's the part that we're going to get into here with, there's still logistical problems that we don't know about. There was talk about making his base contract into the Browns are, this is from Adam Schefter, correction, the Browns are converting base salary into signing bonus to lower his cap number in an attempt to save money. We still don't really have the logistics for that, and so we don't know if the Browns are just going to totally lose out on the money that we owe him, or we do believe if he's picked up on waiver wires that we will be off the hook. However, that is where this conversation is going to have a little bit of a talking point. So, Jeff, I know we talked about it earlier, but you want to convey those thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. So our understanding is that, which this is interesting part about sports, this is the business side, of course, which makes it fun. But our understanding is that the waivers is from reverse order. Of course, we know that. So the Lions have the first crack. Worst record to best record is the waiver wire. So if the Lions want to claim them, they could claim them. However, you're going to have to pay them. I'm 100% certain we're off the hook if somebody claims them. I'm very certain about that. I think that whoever claims them off of the waiver wire would have to pay him his remaining salary, but he has to clear a physical for that to happen. He has a level 2 or 3 AC joint sprain, the last we heard, so that makes it interesting. If people don't want his contract and they don't want his character, then he's going to go through all the waivers, and then the Browns, I'm sure, have a contingency plan set up where we probably had to agree with his reps if he wasn't picked up through the waivers that we're going to have to cut him a check of some sort, unlikely to be the full rest of the year. And then he's free to sign for any amount anywhere. And you know what that means? That means if anything holds true with him, he's probably going to be petty, want to sign with a contender, and probably a contender in the AFC. I believe the last time I looked this was yesterday. The odds in Las Vegas for gambling purposes had the Chiefs at the best odds of signing him. And then I think the Raiders were second, and then the Ravens were third. So it's such a mess. It really is a mess, but now you have no excuses moving forward. Get him out of the way. That's fine. I'm glad that we did not just burn a roster spot on him all year long. I don't really care if he goes to the Ravens and balls out. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm sure wherever he goes, he's going to play good.
Yeah, that's interesting. And for the sake of keeping it to the waiver wire predictions, obviously the only team that I could ideally see picking him off the waiver wire would probably be the Raiders, just because of recent news of Henry Ruggs having to be released because of his personal reasons and everything. That team is still in contention for the AFC for playoffs and all extended purposes. They lose out on, what their deep threat was over there. And so, if John Gruden was still there, I think it would be 10 times even more likely that the Raiders just pull the trigger and grab him off of the waiver wire. But it's going to be interesting. I don't know how long what the day-to-day is on the waiver wire, if it's just like if it ends at a certain time, or if it's just like every team gets a crack at him before it's decided that he wasn't picked up. But yeah, he's probably one of the most interesting waiver wire players to ever, go on in the middle of the season. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, part of me thinks that somehow he'll end up in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, just how he's been able to bring guys in, Antonio Brown, and just all that kind of stuff. So that's about it for me with the Odell stuff. Obviously, I think we're going to save some of the, talking about the effects of not having him on the team and the preview for the Bengals game. But Jeff, do you want to say anything else before we call this one quits?
Really just super ironic that it happened today. And of course, it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Odell.
Happy
Thanks.
birthday, Odell.
Thanks for whatever that was, whatever that 2.5 years was.
Yeah, very unfortunate. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave a like, and leave us your comments in terms of what you're thinking in terms of this whole situation. Obviously a very traumatic one, in very Odell fashion, of course, but here in Cleveland, it is what it is. And so we'll be moving on, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.